I'm here with James Grande. Welcome into the MLB DFS Playbook live stream and podcast here. We are recording for Thursday's early slate, James. It is split slate Thursday. We have 5 games kicking off in the afternoon. We have a 5-game main slate happening later on. So per usual, here we are covering the early slate for everybody on the podcast. James and I will be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern to break down the main slate. We'll have the playbook covering down the main slate, but everybody loves a little day baseball action.
Everyone loves a little day baseball action. That is correct. Everyone loves Thursday because you usually get 2 slates, and 2 slates are better than one. At least that's what they tell us. Not always for our bank accounts, but 2 slates in this instance, in terms of content, better than one. So, yeah, excited to have 5 games early and 5 games late. We'll be covering both here at Fantasy Alarm and Better Sports Network.
Yep, 100% there. On this 5-gamer here, we got the Dodgers, Cincinnati, Arizona, Washington, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Milwaukee, and yes, we do have Coors Field on this slate here as well. San Francisco, Colorado, finishing out this series. James, as we're recording now, do we have any totals or spreads live for us to take a look at?
Yeah, Clayton Kershaw and the Los Angeles Dodgers minus 215. That's your biggest favorite on the board. In Cincinnati still for this one. Graham Ashcraft headed to the mound for Cincinnati. Merrill Kelly and the Arizona Diamondbacks minus 155 in Washington. Tampa Bay slight favorites at home minus 150. I'm interested to see if that line moves more throughout the night and into the morning. But minus 150, Tampa is at home against Bailey Ober and the Minnesota Twins. Colin Ray and Kyle Bradish battle it out in Baltimore and Milwaukee. That is even, dead money 110 each side. And then Alex Cobb and the San Francisco Giants minus 175 in Coors Field to take on the Rockies. Over unders, let's see if we have anything of note. 10 implied runs in Dodgers Reds, 9 implied runs in Arizona Washington, only 7 in Tampa Bay and Minnesota, 9 implied runs in Baltimore, Milwaukee, and then 11 in Coors. So 4 of the 5 games have 9 implied run totals, 2 are in double digits. And who knows how high Bradish Ray could get? Who knows how high Merrill Kelly and Josiah Gray can get by the time?
100% here. James, let's get into it here. No real weather concerns, I don't think, at least yet. We'll be able to update everybody in the afternoon there. I know Colorado, again, has had kind of rain there all week, but we'll see if there actually ends up being an impact there or not. We'll go over to starting pitching. It's a small slate, everybody, here, so not a ton to discuss given the 10 starting pitchers, and maybe only a few of them are usable. But for me here, it's top 2 guys. It's Clayton Kershaw, Tyler Glasnow. Those are the 2 guys that I am looking to go to as my top options here. Does Kershaw in Cincinnati worry me? A little bit. I mean, they do have some guys that can hit right-handed pitching in that lineup, and of course, they now have Ellie De La Cruz, in that lineup as well. And Kershaw hasn't been unhittable. If you look at his recent game logs, he's been giving up some runs and whatnot. So, the ballpark there certainly lends to the potential for some runs to be given up. But if you're looking on the slate and looking at ceiling, strikeout wise, there's only a couple of guys there that could get double digits. Kershaw is one of them.
Yeah, I think Kershaw is one of them. I am a little weary. The strikeouts have been awesome in pretty much the entire year. Only 2 starts below 6 strikeouts through his first 12. He has looked, like a Cy Young candidate in the NL. It's obviously a scary ballpark. I prefer Tyler Glasnow's matchup. I also like that, we've now seen 83 and 88 pitches in back-to-back starts for Glasnow, his first 2 of the year. Now, will he break down at some point? That remains to be seen. It has happened pretty much every year of his career. But right now, he is healthy. And you know what? The 2 starts that he made, Dodgers and Red Sox, not exactly the easiest 2 matchups. Minnesota, very banged up. Byron Buxton to the IL. Kirilov's been in and out of the lineup lately. Royce Lewis been in and out of the lineup lately. I know both are likely to play here, but still, it's kind of a depressed Minnesota lineup. And so I like Glasnow. I also like what Merrill Kelly's been doing. I think this is insane, and I don't think people are really paying much attention to Merrill Kelly, but 2.8 ERA, 77 strikeouts and 70 and 2/3 innings. And his last handful of starts, 8 strikeouts, 10 strikeouts, 4, 9, 6, and 10 in that second 10 strikeout game, because he's had 2 in his last 6,
Yeah.
came against Washington, a team who doesn't really strike out. A lot of wins lately. 6 of his last 7 starts, he's notched a win. Like, maybe Merrill Kelly's just a very good pitcher that doesn't get a lot of respect on his name. And I understand Washington has been good against right-handed pitching. I'm aware of it. Um, they didn't have a problem with him last time, and
Yeah.
he really hasn't had a problem with, you know, this isn't like not the hardest stretch, but his last 2 wins came against Atlanta, where he only allowed 2 earned over 7 innings, and Boston's 1 earned over 6 and a third,
Right.
10 strikeouts, like 2 of the better offenses in baseball. So, shout out to Merrill Kelly, who's having himself a hell of a year right now.
Yeah, the 9.81 K per nine is the highest of his career. Walks also the highest of his career, 3.5 walks per nine. But basically showing that last year that it wasn't really a fluke. He finished the year with a 3.37 ERA. It's at 2.8. His underlying numbers sure a little bit elevated, but not like grossly. 2.8 ERA, 3.67 FIP, 3.6 xFIP. So sure, maybe slight regression, but nothing that's going to blow you up on a lineup. I like those 2 guys. When it comes to my value on this one, again, I we don't often do it, but I go to course here. Alex Cobb going up against Colorado. I just don't think much of this Rockies offense here. So course be damned. I'm throwing guys against the Rockies. Alex Cobb's at $7,500.
Yeah, as long as he keeps the ball on the ground, he's not going to give up many runs in course. It's going to basically be like he's not pitching in course.
Right.
So he's been awesome pretty much all year, with the exception of 1 start against Milwaukee, which is significant because my value play is up against Milwaukee. Yay! Kyle Bradish, and again, I'm not like overly confident in Kyle Bradish here. I don't think you can really be overly confident in much down here. Kyle Bradish is the lesser of all the evils, I'd say. But he has had some really good matchup or really good outings this year in some pretty tough spots. Texas 6 2/3, 1 run in the midst of their, you know, run to being arguably the best offense in baseball. He was really good against the Angels, 6 2/3, 1 run. The strikeouts are like middling for Bradish. He sits around 4 to 5 in most outings. But we've seen 18 fantasy points or more 5 times this year.
Yep.
And Milwaukee's offense has really taken a plunge against right-handed pitching. And I know they're going to get Willy Adames back, and he's, that's obviously a key cog in their lineup, a guy who hits righties extremely well, especially in Milwaukee. Like, that's
Yep.
been our place to use Willy Adames, like especially righties in Milwaukee. He's talked about being able to see there. They're still 9th in strikeout rate. They're bottom 10 OPS, bottom 10 in WOBA against right-handed pitching as a team. So even if Willy Adames beats me for a home run, if that's the only thing Bradish gives up, I'm confident that he can have a pretty good outing here.
Yep. My fade on this slate is going to be Bailey Ober. I get that Bailey Ober's been pitching really well, no doubt about it. 2.33 ERA, sub 1 WHIP. You look at some of the teams he's faced; he's fared well in tough spots here. But this is a guy that, if you do look at some of his underlying numbers, there is some potential regression there. He's got an xFIP and a Sierra over 4 for a guy that has a 2.33 ERA. His strikeout numbers are really nothing to write home about. They're kind of middling here. So Tampa Bay, one of the best offenses in baseball all season long. It doesn't really matter who they're up against. They're just a tough out. So I'm not going to be throwing Bailey Ober on this slate against the Rays.
He is also my fade. And in our seasonal fantasy league, I had the option to play Louis Varland on Tuesday, John. And I said, no, I'm not going to play Louis Varland against the Rays. And that was the correct decision. And I just feel like this could be another situation, daily or seasonal. Like, you don't need to play these guys against the Rays. Like, the Rays are annoying offense, drive up pitch counts, and
now they're
hitting
for power.
And now they're hitting for power. And if Ober gets into any issues, he's thrown less than 80 pitches in 2 of his last 3 starts. This could be a very short outing for him.
Yeah. On the season against right-handed pitching, Tampa Bay is number 1 in the league in WOBA. They are number 2 in ISO. That's really all you need to know there.
Now do lefties. They're also number 1 in all the categories.
Right. It doesn't matter. Lefty or they just mash.
Right.
So, they're just a tough team to go up against. So I'm out on Bailey over here today. We're going to break down the infield position now here, James. So talk to me when we're coming about our top infielders for our lineups tonight. Where are we going?
So I'm going to head to Coors. We've talked about this a lot, that Thairo Estrada has been specifically good against right-handed pitching. Now he's been good against everybody. But he gets matched up against Chase Anderson, who will regress one day, right? Like one day.
One would assume him and Kyle Freeland
One
can't be
day.
pitching well, every time they're out there in
Dude,
courts.
he is not missing bats. He is like, the home runs are starting to creep in for Chase Anderson. We saw 2 in his last start, 1 in the start prior. He hadn't allowed a home run in his first 4 outings
Got
of
a
the year.
96.5% strand rate. Like that.
It's impossible.
Exist.
Impossible. And Thairo Estrada is going to be scoring a lot of runs here. I think he is one of the best, if not one of the best, like the best spend up on the day, because he has power. Now, it's not like 30 home run power, but he can hit 20 home runs in a year. He has 21 extra base hits on the year, 13 stolen bases while hitting 300. And he hits righties extremely well. So Thairo Estrada is my top option. I'm sticking right in this same spot because, again, the regression is coming for Chase Anderson in a big way. I don't care that he keeps skating by. Again, 2 home runs in his last game. Both were solo shots, which, is unfortunate because you mentioned the 96% strand rate. Well, JD Davis is going to deposit one here. He has been excellent against right-handed pitching. 7 home runs, 27 ribbies, 288 average, 377 WOBA against right-handed pitching for JD Davis. I know we don't typically think of him as a guy who is $4,900, but over his last 10, 351, 1,000 OPS, and now he gets cores. I love JD Davis and I love Thairo Estrada. And my third top infielder, I'm actually going to go to the catcher position. I know that's kind of a different approach, but Adley Rutschman gets Colin Ray. We know Rutschman has been significantly better from the left side in terms of power throughout the beginning stages of his career. And Colin Ray, the regression has started to hit him. Lefties are killing this guy. 860 OPS allowed, 370 WOBA, and Rutschman 278 average. 7 of his 8 home runs have come against righties. 367 WOBA for Rutschman. So Rutschman's my third spend up. The 2 guys in San Francisco and Rutschman are my top plays in the infield.
Yeah, I definitely like San Fran. Anytime you get a team in cores, right, you're going to be kind of going in that direction. For me, I'm just kind of lumping it together. I'll cheat a little bit. I'm just going the Dodgers infield here against Will Smith at catcher, Freddie Freeman at first base, Max Muncy third base, Mookie Betts at second base eligibility. I'm playing all of them right there.
Yep.
Graham Ashcraft has been terrible. Righties on the year, a 523 slug with a 394 weighted on base. Lefties don't fare nearly as well, but again, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy in Cincinnati, I'll take my chances there. You still got a 414 slug there against them. He's still allowed 3 home runs already on the year against left-handed hitters. So the righties are doing the damage. So Mookie at second, Will Smith at catcher are the core Dodgers infielders there for me today when it comes to top plays. And then I was with you. Estrada for sure at second base as well. If you're not using Mookie there, just in a lock and load play for today. For me, when it comes to value, of course, we go back down to Ali De La Awesome, who today for this slate also now has third base eligibility. How about that?
Amazing. Yep.
Third in shortstop eligibility here. Now he's going up against Clayton Kershaw. Maybe that keeps some rostership down on him, but the kid is electric. So, and as I mentioned, Kershaw hasn't been unhittable, right? He's not the Cy Young sub-2 Kershaw that we saw in his prime days, So I'll give Ellie an opportunity here for some value. I think Gunnar Henderson, if he's in the lineup, has some appeal to me as well. Going up against Colin Ray, he's been hitting the ball pretty well lately. I know he's missed some time, but if he's back, I do like that from Gunnar Henderson. And then my final value play is Jeimer Candelario, also at third base here. A guy that is actually hitting better against righties and lefties on the season. We talk about how I like Washington against righties on the year. Like this team over the last couple of weeks, starting to hit them really well and hit them for power. And if you can give me Candelario at a pretty good price tag against Merrill Kelly, who no one's really going to be looking to pitch against, hit against Merrill Kelly. But on a smaller slate, like 5 games, if you kind of take a stance on a team and maybe go in a different direction, because I think people are going to be looking at Merrill Kelly as an option on this slate because it's Washington. You, right? Exactly. Going up against him could be a way to put you ahead in these tournaments.
Yeah, I think there's a case to be made on both sides. Like Kelly's been obviously pitching as well as he has his whole career, and Washington's currently at peak form. Like they hit lefty the other night, Tommy Henry. Like they
Yeah.
destroyed him. They grand slam in the first inning. After
Stone Garrett, you called him out. Congrats,
Stone Garrett. Thank you. I'm in lockstep with you, Ellie and Gunner. I have a couple I had a guy that we could classify here. If you want to add someone, and I'll do it.
Sure. Go
I'll
for it.
screw it. Ryan O'Hearn. And I mentioned the struggles for Colin Ray against left-handed bats. I don't know what's in Ryan O'Hearn's water these days, and like what suddenly clicked for this guy, because I actually liked using Ryan O'Hearn when he was in KC. Oh, he was always cheap and always like cheap first baseman bat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been pretty good. Like over his last 10 games playing every day, 7 extra base hits, 3 of them have left the yard, 1,000 or 1,100 OPS, 344 average, 750 slug. And again, Colin Ray's deficiencies are against left-handed bats. You can play O'Hearn at first, you can play him in the outfield. And it's in Milwaukee. It's a good hitting environment. Like, it's not Baltimore. So I like Ryan O'Hearn.
Homer there last night against them. So, or 2 nights ago, rather. As everybody's watching this here on Thursday, Homer on Tuesday in Milwaukee. So, yeah, listen, I like that call a lot. Good price tag, spend down, and maybe a spot that not many people look to get to here. Any other values for you?
No, let's head on to our fades.
All right. Fades for me here. I like Tampa, but I don't know if I'm spending up for Wander on this. It's going to feel odd to play Tampa without Wander, but he's $5,800. And I think that there's some value plays on this slate at shortstop that we could get to. Ellie obviously stands out there where kind of help you spend around and get the other Rays in your lineup if you want to go in that direction. So I know the stolen base upside's there, but against lefties is the Wander split side that we like. From the left side of the plate, he doesn't really do too much power-wise. So I'm fading Wander Franco here, even though I do like Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I don't dislike that call. It's obviously, like you said, it's hard to just play a team with their best player or without their best player, So I'm also fading Bailey Ober. So I don't know, I'm indifferent about the Wander fade, because we're both in agreement that we're fading Ober. I know what you're saying, that there's better pricing, and we're gonna want to obviously pay up for like the Dodgers and Coors and stuff, and they're expensive. So I can the merit there is definitely that. I'm not gonna play Rowdy Tellez. He has been horrible. Maybe getting Willy Adames hitting in front of him will soften things a little bit for him. But he's 6 for his last 37. He's striking out a whole bunch. He's hitting for no power whatsoever. I cannot believe he has a triple on his resume this year. That seems impossible. But I guess Kevin Garnett told us anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Yeah.
So I'm going to be fading Rowdy Tellez. And lefties have actually had much worse of a time against Cobb Radish. It's been righties that have had more of the success, which, maybe it does lead you to Willy Adames a little bit more. But I'm not going to take part in any Rowdy Tellez.
All right. Let's move on to the outfield position here. Tell me about your top outfielders for the day.
I mean, it's just impossible not to just mention Mookie Betts or JD Martinez or both or all of the above. And like, JD Martinez hits a home run every night against right-handed pitching. If there's a right-handed pitcher on the mound, he's going to homer. And it's just, we have to accept that fact at this point. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
And Mookie Betts has arguably been as good. Not in terms of power, but he's been super productive lately. He has had, I'll say, Martinez has been better lately. Mookie Betts has had a higher ceiling because he had back-to-back
2 home run
games, like where he flashed. He also stole a base in one of those games, like 43 fantasy points. Imagine getting that in your lineup. Like, it's
on a 5-game slate.
On a 5-game slate.
Now, I think Dodgers are going to be pretty popular on it, especially on a 5-game slate.
Correct.
So Almost you may be forced into playing some Dodgers here just to get
Yep.
your lineup fill. Any other top outfielders for you?
Nothing in terms of price. I think we all can agree that, I'm gonna
Yeah,
steal
I
your.
like Corbin Carroll tonight
Yeah.
as the other
Okay.
top price guy here. Has some power, obviously, has the stolen base potential. I know Josiah Gray is not giving up home runs anymore this year, like not at the rate he was last year. But still, Corbin Carroll is an elite guy there.
He walks a lot of guys, and
Yeah,
Corbin Carroll has a lot of speed.
yes, agreed with you there. And then the Giants outfielders got a bump.
Yes.
Some of them are still cheaper, but Conforto's at 46, Peterson's at 45, Yastrzemski's 43. So not necessarily the value that they were on the larger slates we've seen the last two nights, but all of them will be in play here. Again, I'm sure we're both in agreement there.
Yeah, I think the pricing is interesting. I think the lineup was interesting too. You saw Conforto in the middle of it. Yastrzemski down hitting seventh, so even behind Haniger,
Yeah.
maybe Yastrzemski's probably last of that
Haniger's
grouping
the
if he's going to
cheapest
hit
of the group
seventh.
at 41.
Yep. So if Yastrzemski's hitting seventh again, he's probably the least likely I'd get to because 4,300 for a seven hitter. Eh.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Lamonte Wade, but he's also just thrown into the lump there. He's not outfield eligible. He's infield, but I mean, I
$4,800.
know it's super expensive now. That's the pricing was the reason we didn't really bring him up, but
Right.
he's been on fire as well. So the
Sure.
Giants again are going to be a pretty strong play here. Other value guys that I've been kind of taking a peek at here, Jake McCarthy, we still down
Yep.
there, pairing up with Corbin Carroll, that's fine. And then Austin Hayes. I mean, we talked about it, like he's just been a guy that's hit righties a little bit better on the year. So I don't mind Austin Hayes there as some value in the outfield.
Yeah, 319, 36 average, 366 Woba for Hayes against righties.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with that same team, John. And I hate to do this to my fellow Yankees brethren, but how about some Aaron Hicks question mark? I mean, he's kind of been good,
Yeah.
and we've talked about it a couple times. Like he's hitting in the middle of this order, which is scary, obviously, because he hasn't hit in a year and a half. But and he's been like leading into this stretch, he had always been a decent power bat from the left side, but he always hit better from the right side of the plate.
Mm-hmm.
But Colin Ray doesn't get lefties out. Hicks has hits in 4 of his last 5 games since arriving in Baltimore. He's playing every day. He's been on base in all five straight games. Like, I don't know. I don't know,
I
John.
like it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like it. And then my last value play is gonna be Luke Raley.
Okay.
Again, I'm just that guy hits nothing but extra base hits, right? So if you're not a believer in Bailey Ober, kind of like where I'm at here, he's got 9 homers on the year against right-handed pitching, a 397 WOBA, a 317 ISO against right-handed pitching this year. So Luke Raley as well in the value tier. Who's your outfield fade for today?
I'm going to stick with the Brewers theme on today's program and go with Christian Yelich. I know he's been a little better, especially in the stolen base category, but Kyle Bradish has just shut down left-handed bats this year. They have a 700 OPS and a 312 WOBA against him. They're not doing much, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go fading Yelich, fading Rowdy Tellez in the infield. So I'm sticking with the Brewers fade theme.
I'm gonna go with a team fade here, and that's the Rockies outfielders. Not gonna. I like Alex Cobb here today. I know again traditionally you got cores and you want to play cores here, but like I just don't want anything to do with Blackman at his price and just Grichuk and Profar, Doyle, like those guys for me. I'm just gonna be out on them for this particular slate. Sometimes you got to make some stands here, and I'm gonna go anti Colorado in course on this one.
I respect it.
Let's go about and go to our top calls of the night. Our Grande's Gems and Pemba imprints here, James. Why don't you give me the Grande Gems plays of the day?
So my gems are going to be my home run call is JD Davis, as I alluded to earlier. I think he's in for a big night, including the entire Giants team, because they are my top stack of the night as well. So top stack is going to be JD Davis, or top home run. My home run call JD Davis. Top stack the Giants. My contrarian stack. I think this has been pretty much portrayed this entire program as well. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles against Colin Ray. They have a lot of lefties that they could throw at him. I'll go with the Orioles as my contrarian stack. My star of the night is going to be Thairo Estrada, who, both you and I profiled as one of our top plays at each position,
Mhm.
or in the infield spot, and really, I think on the entire slate. So Thairo Estrada is my star of the night, and my value play of the night is going to be Ryan O'Hearn. I just mentioned. I love the fact that you could play him in the infield or the outfield, first base or outfield eligible. Is an elite combination. So I will go with Ryan O'Hearn as my value play.
I like it. For me, my home run call is going to be Mookie Betts. We're going to go there tonight, leading off for the Dodgers. I think Mookie is also going to be the star of the night, just kind of keeping it going, good with that run there. Top stack will be the Dodgers here. I also like the Rays as a contrarian stack. Both of them are expensive, so if you're looking for a value stack here as well, I think Washington could be a good contrarian value stack to go up there against Merrill Kelly here tonight. Then my value play, I mentioned him in the outfield, but Luke Raley, just a ridiculous amount of power against right-handed pitching, and Bailey Ober due for some level of regression here. And we talked about it, just Tampa Bay as a whole hammering right-handed pitching. So home run call, Mookie Betts, top stack, Dodgers, and Rays as a contrarian play. Nationals could be a little bit of a value stack. And Luke Raley is the value play here for tonight. James, couple minutes left in the show. Let's go build the lineup, sir.
Let's get it. And guys, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.
True. Like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Glasnow in the lineup. And
sure.
You want to go Bradish here? I'm down with it.
We can go. Let's go Cobb.
Cobb, okay.
Yeah, I like Bradish is an option, and I like him, but I feel a little better about Alex Cobb.
Alrighty. Catcher position here. What is our count? Is it Bailey?
Probably.
Right. Bailey or Sable, one of the two.
Probably one of the two. Yeah.
Okay, let's go the expensive one. If we need to pivot, we can. First base here. You like the O'Hearn. I don't mind going O'Hearn at first.
Yeah, we could play him at first in the outfield. So if we have a spend up that we must have, then I'm okay with that. If not, I think O'Hearn's a good value.
We both agreed on Estrada here at second.
Yep.
Third base. Did we want to use Gunnar? Did we want to use Ellie?
We could do. I mean, we could split the difference and possibly do both, using Elliott shortstop as a good value, because then we'll probably be able to get Dodgers in the outfield.
Sure, I like that. Ellie. All right, $4,800 here. So we want JD for sure.
Yep.
And we want Mookie Betts.
Yep.
And JD, and that is $3,500. Let's see here. Was there a $3,500 first? Oh, Raley. Beautiful.
Raley. Yep.
There it is. Glasnow, Cobb, Sable, O'Hearn, Estrada, Henderson, De La Cruz, Betts, Martinez, and Raley. That's the look at the early slate here for Thursday's 5-gamer. We'll be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern for the main slate. If you have any questions, get us in Discord. James and I will talk to you all later.